I don't see why in the first paragraph that there's something underlined. I'm guessing maybe it's your thesis statement, but it's 2 sentences. Every department of society is under the influence of COVID-19. What is a department of society? And because you end up talking about the world, so you're saying that everything around the world is impacted? If so, maybe just say that. But COVID-19 shattered the education system during the early weeks of its existence. The education sector has become the victim of COVID-19 and has forced teachers and students to suffer. But then you shift, so then I think you're about to go have a discussion about the effects of COVID-19 on education, but then you ask this question, the next question, how COVID-19 has impacted the global economy. I'm not going to try to address all the mechanical issues, but that's not a question. It's how has COVID-19 impacted the global economy? Question mark. How is the education system suffering at the hands of COVID-19? Question mark. And you should never put bullet points in your essay. This starts on page 2 and goes on to page 3. So it's taking up almost a whole page. Like, no, that is not MLA format. Maybe you got that information from that source that's listed, Dennis, Dunny, maybe if it's French. It's just a guess. No, don't. You have to summarize that or paraphrase it. You can't just pop bullet points down in the middle of an essay. So that has to be reformatted. So there's all that. I'm looking at the Rashid and Yadav source that you cite, and you'd have to go through all these because you know your sources better than I do, but you offer page numbers for those in your works cited page, which incidentally that shouldn't be in bold type, and the whole thing needs to be moved up towards the top of page 5. And there should be no page 6. I'm not sure why that's there. It's just blank anyway. This source in particular, you list page numbers on your works cited page, but you don't list the page number in your text, again, at the bottom of page 3, that you got that information from about the students facing difficulties in online learning systems. So there are many issues that just right out of the gate need to be addressed. But here's the biggest one. I don't see how this is a tragedy of the commons, unfortunately. And that is what this assignment was supposed to be about. I don't see a clearly defined commons. I don't see a clearly defined tragedy. If you are saying that the commons is education and tragedy is that students and teachers suffered because of COVID-19, I'll buy that argument, but you got to make that clear in a clear thesis statement, which I don't see. And then related to that, if that's your focus, I don't think you need to talk about the Dow Jones Industrial Average. I'm not sure the discussion on the second half of page 2 is necessary. And that whole bullet pointed section, I don't think that's necessary. This is essentially 2 different topics. So you have to decide on a thesis statement and define it in terms of a tragedy and a commons. You have some good information here. Don't get me wrong. This is not an absolute disaster, but it's not quite what the assignment was asking for. And what we've been studying this entire term and what, we've practiced in the other assignments and the discussions, material from the lectures, so on and so forth. So that's where you're at. I think you can turn this around, but you have a lot of work to do. I hope you get some good feedback from your peers on this too.